Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge. Mighty God, you know that we come humbly before you. And we ask you to search us. See if there's anything good. Because we come representing your people and doing your will. But we dare not do it without you. And so, mighty God, we ask for an anointing. Let this campaign be refreshing. Let it be clean, mighty God, because cleanliness is next to godliness. And so, mighty God, as we thank you for allowing us this opportunity, we thank you for what you have done, and we thank you for what is to come. We put our trust and believe in you that you will be with us. And so, mighty God, allow us to smile at the storm. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Yo! Nevis! Tell them who can handle, just leave this. Hey! I'm just show me your hand if you're voting. For Barry and NRP we voting. Tell the CCM we not joking. Yo! We voting for NRP, the performance party. CCM them on top of it like they.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know it's Sunday evening, and so you are already mellowing down, getting ready for the work week. But we are not here to be mellow tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We have serious business to handle, and we are coming with serious issues. The country of St. Kitts and Nevis is in a state. The island of Nevis, more specifically, is in a state. And we need all of you to repair that. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we come here tonight in Craddock Road on the borderline between Nevis 9 and Nevis 11 with serious business. And so I want some energy from you guys. I don't want you to just be sitting down there like this is a concert and you're just admiring me on the stage. That is not what tonight is about. I need each and every one of you and those in your homes to understand that Nevis is in a state and it is going to be the Nevis Reformation Party to take us out of that. NRP people, good night. Good night, NRP. All right. Nice. To those of you who are viewing via the World Wide Web, through Facebook or YouTube, we say thank you so much. We are happy to have you. I know many of you wish that you could physically be here, but we understand your circumstance because some of you are in the diaspora, not physically here in Nevis, and so we are still happy to accommodate you. We are happy to facilitate you. So thank you so much for tuning in. Those of you who came out of your homes this evening, we appreciate you. You didn't have to come out of your homes because we know you're comfortable at home, but you came to hear what the Nevis Reformation Party's candidates have to say, and we appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, we were getting ready for a local election. We were getting ready for a local election. When I tell you I was getting ready, I was getting ready. And I am not anything I do, I like to do in grand style. So we were getting ready. And don't fool yourself, we're still getting ready for that local election. But we have had to push forward our federal candidates because it is time for a federal election. And we understand that, let's be real, the NRP did not do too good in the last federal election. We understand that. We've made some mistakes in the past, but we maintain that we remain the best choice for the island of Nevis. We have the most competent set of candidates, always have and always will, because in the Nevis Reformation Party there is no shortage of ideas, there is no shortage of commitment, there is no shortage of dedication in the Nevis Reformation Party. And so I want each and every one of you under the sound of my voice, whether you are down by Johart area, you're up the road by Isles, wherever you are, I understand there is room for you in the Nevis Reformation Party. You see me? I am not bothered by who you have always supported. That is not important. We are not bothered if every single person in your household is a supporter of the other side. If you, the lone person in that household, recognize that the NRP is the party of inclusion, the NRP is the party that is going to take you from one level to the next, the NRP is the party that's going to improve your standard of living, come. We welcome you. Come over. We welcome you. And listen, we have some persons who I know, they are die-hard NRP supporters. They are die-hard NRP supporters, right? Yes, we have some of them in front here. Sister Hyacinth Wallace and others. We know we have the die-hard NRP supporters. And we appreciate you because you're always ready to go to battle for us. And listen, when we say go to battle, we mean go to battle in different ways, eh? Because it is not everybody who needs to be out there jumping and shouting and screaming, right? Because I know some of you call me and they say, Lord JD, Lord, I don't like what they say about you. And I like what they say about Pat. And I like what they say about Dr. Daniel. And I like what they say about Rohan. And I know you feel it because you genuinely care about us. But understand, I know my colleagues, and we are strong. We are very, very strong. And oh yes, but Sylvester are coming with the queen, you know. Are coming with the queen. Rohan, Sylvester are coming with the queen. Take up that for me, please. Are coming with the queen. You see? Sylvester come for me tonight. This is one of the soldiers. Because he didn't hear me call the Honorable Cleon Stapleton Simmons his name. And listen, I don't tell them already that Queen Cleon will remain on her throne. It doesn't matter what they try. They could pad the list. They could move people from here and there. They could make up names. They could put people to vote in names that nothing goes so. They could try everything. Queen Cleon will remain on her throne. St. Thomas says. So yes, Sylvester, I am not worried. I am not worried there. But ladies and gentlemen, I digress. So I was saying that I know many of you, our die-hard supporters, you're worried about us. All I'm saying, continue to cover us in your prayers. You understand? Some of you are some praying people, and we need you. So pray for us. Continue to pray for us and our families. I listened to Mr. Paris tonight, and he put down a prayer, and I said, yes, yes, yes. We need all of you to be praying for us. Do not give up. Do not give up. They are bringing a dirty style of politics. But the NRP is not going to stoop to that level. The NRP is going to raise our ideas, our standards. We are raising our argument while they bring it down. So don't worry about that. Focus. NRP people, focus. That is the word I want you to remember tonight. Focus. So when they come with a distraction, what we doing? When they come and tell you don't vote, they're paying you to vote, what you doing? We focusing. Okay? So ladies and gentlemen, we have a packed evening, but we don't want to keep it too late. We know you have to go to work tomorrow. We know the children have tests tomorrow. So we have a lot on our plate. I am not going to waste too much time because I am actually ready to introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker is our candidate in the constituency of Nevis 10. This young man, and I know him well because we went to school together. This young man is going to create an upset in Gingerland. Something tells me that he is going to create an upset in Gingerland. Because the people of Gingerland are fed up of nothing. The people of Gingerland are fed up of being taken for granted. I mean, the situation in Gingerland is like, oh, we know who gonna win, and so we're not going to try because we know they're going to vote for us. No. The people in Hanley's Nevis Road must get the treatment that the people in Cotton Ground are going to get. The people in Rollins deserve to get the treatment that the people in Newcastle are going to get. And so, help me welcome none other than Rohan the man. Rohan the man. He is going to take Nevis 10 back for the Nevis Reformation Party. DJ.
NRP. Let me sing it to you. NRP. That's what matters. NRP. Performance. NRP. That's what matters. When I look around this island, I see progress and prosperity. Development in every angle. A piece of it just for you and me. What a force of positive thinking from the men of the NRP. In the darkest time, they still shining. Let's give it up for the Green Party.
Good night, good night, good night, good night. Oh, we're in Craddock Road tonight. And it's in the borders of 9 and 11, so we're going to start with 10. It is good to be here to share the good news of the Nevis Reformation Party. As JD would have said, we have seen the many attacks come, but I don't think they know me well. I don't think they know me well. I am not phased now, has not been back then, and never will be by idle chatter. I have a mission to complete, and that is to bring real progress, real representation to the people of Nevis. I want to tell you a little story tonight about 3 people who were sent to Bastille. They said to us, strengthen our hand. And a fair argument to make, and the people of Nevis succeeded to that. And they went to St. Kitts with one simple message. They were sent to secure proper representation for our people. That is what they were sent to do. And for 70 years, they decided that it was in their best interest to fix party affiliations, because we all know now that things weren't too well with them. And their business there was to patch up that, not to give the impression that things weren't bad. And while that was happening, the visions were wondering, well, what next? Because you see, during that period of time, things weren't too good with us. Too many of us were unemployed. Too many of us were facing hardship. Too many of us were wondering how we were going to get through to the next day. But while we were facing the difficulties, they were gladly going and coming with pockets full. In all that time, we heard how things were the best. They have never been better. They boasted of the brilliance of the Prime Minister, the financial excellence, how we have gotten things we have never gotten before. But yet Nevisians have asked and continue to ask, why can't we feel the 400 million? Why can't we feel the impact of the monies that has come to Nevis for our benefit? And now they're back. 3 years earlier. Lord, we can't take much more of these constant elections. Every 2 years we are in a state of election, and the country cannot settle. Yet they couldn't care less about that. As far as they were concerned, we not getting what we want. Not Nevisians not getting what they want, you know. They weren't getting what they wanted. So we're going to mash up the thing. Well, if you're unemployed, according to them, after the election, you're going to be unemployed. But we're going to talk about that later. By their own admission, not mine. On average, they got 57 million a year. Just working out on average. And they said that the 57 million ain't no money. He said that can cover the salary for the Nevis Island administration. Well, you're getting 57 million a year. Let us look at the projects you promised. We didn't promise them. You promised them. We go over to the Holy Pier. 6 million. You're getting 57 million a year on average. It is only 6 million, yet it stands there just a pier. Nothing there that sets it apart from any other pier anywhere. 3 years on, our people are still sheltering in a tent under a tree. And God forbid the rain fall and you want to use the bathroom, you either get wet or you get wet. Your choice. We have boasted time and time again that high-end tourism is our business. Yet there is no modern facility at the Holy Pier that should indicate to our regional and international travelers, look, we mean business. This facility is set up to welcome you. It is not there. No arrival, no departure lounge, no modern amenities. And so when our international travelers come to the high-end destination, there is no end to foolishness at Holy. That is what they went to Bastia for. 57 million a year. And the E.T. Willett Park stands just as it was when they promised $15 million for its development. Still the same. They said we're going to Mondo so we can fix up E.T. Willett. Well, E.T. Willett moved now. It gone someplace. Untouched. 57 million a year. Them 2 projects they combine in 57 million. One not done, the other not start. And I've said before, it is not just the physical that is important, but what it means for young division cricketers. That is what is important. That our young people can go to a place with international acclaim and feel good about themselves and give their best in practice to say, look, I have a world-class facility. I can make world-class contributions. That isn't happening. What else does it mean? It means we are not getting not even an CPL practice match. Patriots next door and we can't get a game. And so we can't benefit from the economic fallout from these things. Our vendors can't make a little change because nobody wanted or they decided that they're not going to do anything to the E.T. Willett Park. Nevis boasts of the highest rate of test players per capita in the world. Yet we can't host a first-class game. And 57 million a year, you can't find $15 million of that to renovate and find a new purpose in the E.T. Willett Park. But yet you come again to tell people you're fighting for them? There has been no demonstration of that. And the E.T. Willett Park stands clear as an indication of your failures to provide for the visions. The Treasury building was budgeted at 8 million. Came in at 12 million. 8 million came in at 12 million. I was concerned that this government likes to do things over budget. I can't recall anything they've ever done that has come in on time and on budget. Anything on time and on budget got a foreign influence to it. Everything that has been done that comes in on time and on budget has a foreign influence. If you think a lie, check the road from Cotton Ground to Cliff Dwellers. Sorry, aggregate paving. On time and on budget. Go across to the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park. The Taiwanese, on time and on budget. But check them now. Road in Butlers, still ain't. And if we ain't done now, with what they said they were going to spend on it, then you know when you finish, you over budget. That is how they operate. We can go to the Mondo surface, and I stop saying Nevis Athletic Stadium, because no stadium out there. There is a Mondo surface out there, and I agree it is a world-class surface. But what does that mean for young division athletes? Because there is no real program attached to the facility. We have provided no training for our coaches to elevate themselves so that they can provide the best possible training for our students. We haven't provided any training for our officials. We look at our inter-primary and we see where our top officials come from. We see the news and we see our top officials go off to Carifta games and the Nakak games. There are no divisions among them. So we don't have people in Nevis interested in athletics. But because this government doesn't care about people's advancement, you see, this is a steel and concrete government. That is it. Put down physical structures, attach no programs to it, because at the end of the day, they're going to tell you it is there. What, I mean, you can't run on it? But where is the program with purpose that allows for the elevation of our student athletes, of our junior athletes, of our senior athletes, that can put them in a position to properly participate and compete at Carifta, at international meets? Not there. Because there is no plan for purpose. Lord, help us now, because we're going up Government Road to the shell that has stood time immemorial now. $19 million on, 5 years and counting, and we still cannot begin to see the end of something that should have priority for divisions. The hospital, whether they want to call it a new wing, an extension, or a new hospital, it still can't be used. I want to know if you can tell us, what happened? We can't use it? No, we can't use it. What are we going to do with it? This government refused advice from technical personnel simply because there was an attachment to NRP, to hire a new consulting firm to tell them the very same thing. So now we're going to pay people to break down the inside, to pay people to rebuild the inside. What are we really doing with the people's money? Yet they are going to tell you that they are fighting for you. That can't make sense. There's no reality in that. How could 5 years pass, $19 million spent, and we can't open the new wing, the new hospital, whatever they want to call it? And it is more than just the physical. Again, it is what it means to the people of Nevis at this point in time during this global pandemic. Nevision should be comfortable in their homes, saying, listen, we've got a world-class facility. If anything happens to us, there is diagnostic here, there is diagnostic there. We can go to the Alexandra Hospital and be treated. But woe be unto us should any of us feel or find ourselves wanting of those services. How could you tell people you are fighting for them, yet you do nothing within the realm of your powers to advance the care that is needed for our people? Well, he said, he would have wished that he'd sink in the bottom of the ocean and its way. That is the mentality of the people that are asking you to send them back to Bastia. What level of compassion is beholden to a government that watches life-enhancing equipment rot I said rot, rotten, degrade, come to north. And have absolutely no human compassion therein. And what is worse, we have seen so many lives go through that same process. Just rot away. There can't be any human compassion in those that have come again to say to you, send us to Bastia. So we would have seen in a nutshell, and I understand that they have released a litany of things that they would have done with the 400 million. Well, not they, because you and I know, if you dissect the thing, 3 in the choir, 2 mom, 1 with the loudspeaker. That's all I can say. Because when they ask about the one to the left, he went to Glasgow, to COP26, to speak on the environment. Yet his backyard at Indian Castle is a pile of rubbish. The other one, they say, I don't even remember the place name. They say he reopened some place in St. Kitts. Boy, I tell you. But I want to tell you tonight, the Nevis Reformation Party has always been and will always be the party that really fights for division. It is a party that always have had the best interests of divisions at heart. And I tell you so not without facts, because I'm going to share some with you now. Lest we forget that after the trauma of the 1970 and the Christina disaster, it was Dr. Simeon Daniel who set out on a mission to bring Nevisians to a place where they didn't have to do too much travel to get certain things done. It was Sim Daniel who set out a platform of programs to afford Nevisians the opportunity to advance themselves, to buy land and to own homes. It was Simeon Daniel who secured our financial services. It was a Nevision premier in the time of trouble and darkness that brought light and hope to the people of Nevis. In 2000, in the early 2000s, 2008, the world was faced with a global financial crisis. Nevis had been hit by Hurricane Omar. So you could understand the level of frustration and panic and fear among Nevisians. But how are we going to survive this now? Because Omar hit and 4 seasons closed. But it was J.W. Parry who said, listen, for as long as you can hold them, keep them, I will give what I can, when I can, and for those that I can take on, I will take on, because Nevisians must be Nevisians first in this country. When 4 seasons faced its trial of being sold, it was J.W. Parry who insisted time after time until he was successful that those trials must be held in Nevis. Nevisians must benefit. And so they did. They said to us, you know, we ain't get nothing in our arrangement with the SNLP except for a loan. Well, look how one loan has outdone $400 million. Because the loan was set aside to ensure that the airport remain in the possession of Nevisians, and they must tell you that. But we have since gone on to sign a host of arrangements for the Van Sammy International Airport, all of which has come to nothing. You know, the facility out there now holds the record. It is the single largest mail sorting facility in the Caribbean. The only thing that comes and goes out there, that DHL and FedEx. when the world was in recession, Joseph Walcott Parry was the first person I heard talk about stimulus package. And then we roll around the world and we say, praise to Obama. But the Obama of the Caribbean was Joseph Walcott Parry, who said, we must create a construction boom that is going to benefit our people, that is going to ease the burden that they face today. And so across the landscape of Nevis today, you can see the work of a man who held Nevisians at heart. We have always been and will always be the party that fights for you. Now we head into 2020, one of the darkest times in world history. A pandemic that has not only brought death and destruction, but has brought fear and economic destruction for our people. And with $400 million, one would have thought that we would have been in a position to give more, to look after the vulnerable among us, our single-parent homes led by women, our young men who are seeking to do better. The world economist said, listen, in order for you to survive the global pandemic and to come out on the other side, you've got to provide liquidity to your struggling people. We did that at a federal level. There was the stimulus, $1,000. But if this government really cared about Nevisians, they would have sought to take some of the 400 million and say, listen, you're getting 1,000 at the federal level, here is 750 more. Put yourselves in a better position to survive. It's the mental struggles and frustrations you have. Take care of your family. That is what should have happened. But when we ask the question, no money there. But weeks later, there was the boasting of paving of roads. I remember Dr. Bartlett asking, what about the private employees who will not benefit from a double salary? What are we doing about them? The money there. But then we began to speak about paved roads. What is clear by this is that this administration prefers to pave roads in an attempt to increase your emotions in the face of an election, to say that they have done X, Y, Z, than to pave a path to prosperity and to the upliftment of our people. That can't be the same set of people saying to you that we are fighting for you. That can't be. It cannot be, and it will never be, because it has been the NRP who believe firmly in our people, in their advancement, in their upward mobility. Now, with all the things that they have said they have done, and all right, you may say you do them and you might not do them, fair enough. The one thing that you really should have done to secure now and always Nevis's rightful share. I done with this fair share thing. The rightful share of Nevisians was to promote a legislative agenda that says no matter who is in Bastille, no matter who is at Pinnes, this is secured for Nevisians for time to come. And that is why the candidates you are going to send to Bastille have a legislative agenda that does that. We are not going to Bastille to ask for no fair share. We are going to Bastille to legislate our rightful share. That is what we are going for. It can't be business as usual. It will not be business as usual. At the end of the day, you must live comfortable knowing that whatever whatever receipts from the sale of your patrimony will always be there. You will benefit. Your children will benefit. Your children's children will benefit. The prosperity of the nation will fall upon you regardless of who is in control in this country. It is about doing what is right for divisions. NRP has a track record of doing that because for us, it is Nevis first. Nevis first, Nevis first, and Nevis first always. And so we talk about health care. Our agenda provides for a national health insurance scheme. Dr. Bartlett will come and tell you. Dr. Daniel will come and tell you how disheartening it is for those affected by the underlying themes of poverty and gender inequality, who are constantly in the face of health issues. And time again, we find ourselves having to dig deep in our pockets in these dark financial times to give to our neighbors because we understand at any time it can be any one of us. What a legislative agenda that pushes a national health scheme says to you, our people, that if at any time you shall find yourself in wanting of financial assistance for health care, the scheme is there to cover you and to bring you relief when you need it. Whether you have to go to the US of A, to Trinidad, Antigua, wherever you have to go, you should be able to do so with a peace of mind. It is absolutely daunting to have to think about how you're going to come up with $50,000 or $100,000. Yet money is there to provide for a scheme that gives you and grants you the peace of mind. That is the intent of the Nevis Reformation Party. I want to tell you briefly about cleaner, cheaper energy. We are blessed and well placed within the region. Wind is at your disposal. Sunshine is at your disposal. Why aren't we using it? It's a gift of nature. And so I believe that every Nevisian and every Kitchen who so desires should be able to power their own homes. And you can do so through solar panels. And it is our desire to make those things affordable. What will that do? Because when Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge gets hold of geothermal, you have geothermal at your disposal, you have solar panels at your disposal, it means that you're walking around with money in your pocket. That is the intent of the Nevis Reformation Party. Those programs are not just designed to put money in your pocket, but they're designed to put money in the pockets of young men and women who can get into the field of installation, maintenance, repairs, and recycling. You see, we don't think one way. We think all around, looking to benefit the people of Nevis. We go to agriculture. And the young people must be the focal point of this thrust to grant us a higher level of food security. And there must be that great desire of our people to get into smart technology in agriculture. The greenhouse, the shade house that provides higher yields. And with higher yields, that is higher contribution to the basket of food provided. And then there is added value. We don't just want you to grow tomatoes and call that George. I want when Winston done grow 2 acres worth of tomatoes that Sylvester can come and buy all of those and turn them into tomato paste or tomato ketchup. Why are we constantly looking to follow? Why aren't we looking to lead? We are just as smart, just as in. Listen, we can no longer be limited by the size of our country. Let us go beyond that scope and provide for ourselves and our family. And then there is cannabis, a multi-billion-dollar global industry. We have some of the best soil in the region. And we all know the intent to grow marijuana is there. So what are we afraid of? What are we afraid of? We're not even talking now about recreational, because everybody could grow their 5 trees. But there is value in the medicinal research of the cannabis. What are we afraid of? Why is it we are sitting back while St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Jamaica move full steam ahead and getting the economic prosperity that belies the cannabis? It is a gift from God. Why aren't we looking to benefit? Divisions, you are leaders. It is time to stand up and demand that you lead. And then there is Star. Thank you, Bassi. Science, technology, and research. And this is a program that I am confident that is going to place our young people at the heart of the global phenomenon that is technology. Our young people are filled with energy. This is their realm. This is what they do day in and day out with their eyes closed. Listen, they're coming out of the womb knowing how to operate phones. Why aren't we providing the opportunities for our young people to get into science and technology and to research? We not know now, but if we provide the opportunity, the next best thing in medicine can come from St. Kitts and Nevis. The next best thing in motor vehicles can come from St. Kitts and Nevis. The next great app can come from St. Kitts and Nevis. We've got to provide opportunities for our young people to harness their skills, develop their crafts, and lead the global world like we know they can. That is our legislative agenda. And what does that mean for our people? It means prosperity today, tomorrow, and for time to come. That is what the NRP is about. Providing opportunities, yes, Sylvester, for independence. We want to put you as divisions in a place where you can enjoy your life today. Retire tomorrow and watch your children enjoy their time. And lay comfortably in your rocking chair and watch your grandchildren enjoy their time. It is that kind of sustained prosperity that we are talking about. That is possible with the Nevis Reformation Party. We haven't come to you to beg you to send us to Bastia to waste time. We haven't come to you to ask you to send us to Bastia to try and fix political affiliations and watch our people suffer. We have come to you because we understand that at this time in our development, at this crossroad in our development, you are yearning and hoping and beseeching for representation that makes life comfortable for you. You are asking for employment opportunities upon employment opportunities more than you can handle yourself. That is what you're asking for. And we are saying to you in the NRP that we are ready. We are ready to do the work. We are ready to bring the goods. We are ready to restore our peace, reclaim our progress, and reignite our prosperity. No longer will I ask you how I can help. Tonight I have shown you how I can help. Craddock Road, your time is now. The NRP's time is now. It is time to send the NRP to Bastille. Thank you, good night, and I love you.
NRP. And we say performance matters. NRP deal with the country proper. Cause all them attack, NRP a stepper. Catch up them a play, we a pepper. NRP a rule the country run better. Catch up them a play, we a pepper. NRP.
NRP massive. How we sounding? How we sounding? Tell her, you know, Rohan is going to cause an upset in Nevis 10. How many of you agree with me? While Rohan was speaking, I was there checking out the live, because for those of you who do not know, our meetings are streamed, and so they are on Facebook. They are also on YouTube. So if you have friends and family members around the world, you can share the link with them and let them know that they can view our meetings on Facebook and YouTube. Also, we want to say thank you to the good folks at 2020 Vision Radio, because 2020 Vision Radio is also carrying tonight's meeting. And for those who are not aware, 2020 Vision Radio is now on the FM dial. So it's 102.1. A round of applause for 2020 Vision Radio. It's good to see our people doing things, and I know they have worked really hard to get to this point. So let us go out and support them. Ladies and gentlemen, remember I told you, some of you came in a little bit late, and that's okay. We are happy to have you. Remember I told you that this election cycle, we are going to focus. We are going to focus. We are not going to allow anybody to distract us. We are going to do what? Focus. Focus on the issues, ladies and gentlemen. Focus on the things that can propel you and your families forward. Do not be concerned with little small things. They come and they tell you all kind of things. That's not going to move our country forward. We need to focus. Now, I know that quite a few people tend to stay at home when there is a federal election. We don't want that this time around. When you stay at home and do not vote, you are giving someone else the right to choose for you. And then you are going to be the ones complaining that we are not getting what we deserve. You are not seeing any progress. So go out and vote. Be part of the change that you want to see. Listen, we do not want you to think that your vote is not going to count. Do not think that your vote is not going to count. We have seen elections that people win by 7 votes and 11 votes and 14 votes. So every vote matters. Every vote counts. Listen, I will not stand up here and tell you that the NRP has always done everything great. I am not going to say that. There were times when I was vexed with my party, and there were times that I said, man, I don't feel to, and then I catch myself. I said, JD, what you say? Go out there and vote, because the little personal things here and there can mean more than the development of your country. The little personal things cannot mean more than the development of your country. And so if in high school, Dr. Patricia Bartlett step on your toe, and she have been remembered to tell you sorry, let that go. Focus, ladies and gentlemen. Focus, ladies and gentlemen. If there was a time that Papa entered your establishment and he forget to tell you good morning, leave that alone. Focus. I mean, I am bringing these things up because these are the things that people tell you why they stay home. People are out there vexed right now because they asked somebody for 2 tanks of gas and they could have only give them 1. Are you focused? Focus. These are real life things. Leave the little trivial things alone. It is because of this stay-at-home mentality why we have our children struggling in schools. And you know that education is near and dear to my heart. You realize that when it's time for sports, we big up the children and we push them up. What happens to some of these athletes? When they get to a stage where they are no longer able to compete locally, what happens? Nothing. There's nothing in place. We also have some athletes who, they do good athletically, but they're not so strong academically. There's nothing in place for them. Nothing. Because we just have one vision. We're not looking at anything else. We just see things as far as our noses. That is not going to be the case under the Nevis Reformation Party. Rohan has shown you that it has always been an NRP administration to take us out of the various crises. And it will be an NRP administration to propel us forward. NRP people, focus. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting ready to bring on the next speaker. But I want the people of Craddock to realize something. You are in a unique position. Because if I stand up here, I am in Nevis 11. And if I cross the road, I am in Nevis 9. And so we realize that there has been some discrepancies at the federal level when it comes to who we vote for. But I maintain, whether I stand up here or I stand up over there, I am in Charlestown, and Charlestown will be green. And so on election day, I want the people of Charlestown, whether you live over here or over there, to come out early. Come out early, because we're going to vote in Dr. Patricia Bartlett. Then we're going up the hill. And we are going to encourage our brothers and sisters in St. John to deliver Dr. Patricia Bartlett. If you are going into surgery, don't you want a doctor, a competent doctor there for you? If you are going into surgery, a major life or death situation, you need a doctor. And that is what we are in, a situation of life and death. And we need a doctor to deliver us. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a lot to say, but it's not about me tonight. So I want you to get to your feet. Get to your feet, ladies and gentlemen, because we are bringing forward a young lady who is coming from Nevis 11. She was comfortable where she was, working in St. James only, because that is where she lives and that is where her passion is. But when she looked around at what was happening, she said, no, I have to answer the call. And it is many of you who went to her and said, we need you. We need you. And she has answered the call. Small in stature, big in ideas. Small in stature, big in delivery. So ladies and gentlemen, get to your feet as we bring on the party's leader, a lady who has proven that she is competent, a lady who has done a lot for Nevis, went over in the United States Virgin Islands and turned up things over there in terms of development. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome my party leader, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge.
Nevis first. Hey, Janice not for the people. She's a good leader. Protect your pride and lose character. Nevis our first priority. Janice shine bright, could I never dim. She not for the people. She's a good leader.
Good night. Good night, everybody. Good night. It's good to be on Craddock Road tonight. Nevis 11, Nevis 9. In Craddock Road, you find a medley of everybody. And so I want to say tonight, good night to the folks from St. John's constituency. Good night to the folks from St. George's. Good night to the folks from St. Thomas's, from St. Paul's, and to everybody who's here tonight. I see a lot of faces. good friends of mine, Mr. Dalton, I saw him earlier. And I know that there are a lot of people here. A lot of people here, and NRP, as was said before, is the party that embraces everybody. And so to all who are here, I would say welcome, and we're happy to have you here. NRP is the party that represents Nevis, not some of Nevis, not part of Nevis, but all of Nevis. NRP is the party that represents all of Nevis. So, my good colleague, Rohan Isles, came before me. And my good colleague, JD, said I'm small in stature. I don't mind being small in stature because I have a big giant in Rohan Isles. A big giant in Rohan Isles. And I can go anywhere with him at any time, and I know I can stand on his shoulders. And when I look to my right, Dr. Patricia Bartlett, I think the people of Nevis tonight can feel proud to know that they have a great team to represent them in this federal election. Because you see, this federal election is about representation. It is about representation. And we know that Nevis can only get its rightful share, as Rohan said, when people are paying attention and people understand what is required. And we have said for 7 years, you had CCM in the federal parliament and could not deliver the fair share. Could not deliver the fair share. And so we are here tonight. We are here tonight to contest this federal election because you know what? They saw us getting ready for the local election. They saw us getting ready, and they started to get frightened. Imagine NRP caused them to mash up the whole federal government. NRP caused them to mash up the entire federal government because they thought we were going to not be ready for federal. But guess what? Guess what? They're even more scared now. They're even more scared now because look at what they've done. They have gone and aligned themselves with who? The People's Action Movement. Now, anybody will tell you right now, the race in St. Kitts is between Labour and Labour. People Labour Party and St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And so to Pam, we have to say we're sorry. And guess what? The race in Nevis is between Dr. Rohan Isles, Dr. Patricia Bartlett, and myself. All NRP. All NRP going to St. Kitts. Now, you see, when we talk about representation at the federal level, we must recognize that based on the Constitution, Nevis has certain powers that it can make its own laws. And we must recognize that the federal government has certain responsibilities. And so because NRP has always said that Nevis is our first priority, whether it's in St. Kitts or in Nevis, our focus must be on Nevis. Now, understand, as Minister of Foreign Affairs, and I'm going to need a little help here, because I cannot pronounce all of these places. But as Minister of Foreign Affairs, our Premier could go to St. Kitts, and he could go to Vanuatu and Malta and all these different places. Help me. All of these places, all kind of kaijas, right? To get the #1 passport. And so he traveled all over the world to strengthen the passport. And all he needed to do was to go to Parliament and legislate for Nevis' fair share. And that is where you say, we must focus. We must focus on Nevis. Because we did not send him, the people of Nevis did not send him to go all over the world. He asked for us to strengthen their hands so that they could represent us in the parliament in St. Kitts. And so we recognize that they have failed us. They have failed us. They have failed us. And the problem is they want to come back now and say, give us another chance. Give us another chance. Now, how can you get another chance? You sat there for 7 years inside of parliament where you needed to be to get the job done. You come out of parliament and say, send us back into parliament to represent you. 3 of them. And the problem is when the premier said, we're going to mash up the government, the other 2 say, we're going to follow the leader wherever. We're going to follow the leader wherever. So you have 3 representatives down there, and it's really as if you have 1. Because when one speaks and says, this is what we're going to do, the other 2 say, we're going to follow the leader. So none is better than the other. And that is why tonight, NRP is here, because we understand that you need to have proper representation. And when you send your 3 NRP representatives to Bastille, you can rest assured. Imagine I'm going to tell Rohan, jump off this cliff. Dr. Bartley, jump off that cliff. You think that's going to happen? You think that's going to happen? We're going to have to sit down and work it out. What is best for Nevis? Not for one person. It is not what is best for one person. Right? And so you have a team in NRP where we can all think and know how to make decisions for the people of Nevis. Now, the other thing I'm going to say, why it is that people feel that they could keep fooling and fooling and fooling. Every year for the last 7 years, CCM sit inside our NIA and approve a budget with $45 million. Goes down to St. Kitts and approves the federal budget with the same $45 million. In fact, it was just in December when he approved the budget and said the Prime Minister is the best Prime Minister in the world. Said he's the best Prime Minister in the world. Approved the budget with the $45 million. And when he started to feel the heat from NRP in Nevis, he went back and he said, I want some more money. I want some more money. And now he's going to say, well, the Prime Minister not give me no more money. But listen, I am not taking sides. But when you don't approve your budget for the year, how are you going to go back behind and say you want some more? And so when you hear this story about the Prime Minister don't want to give Nevis the fair share, they don't sit down and agree and sign the budget and approve the budget and then want to come back. Then want to come back and say, oh, we now get with fair share. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And what I must say also, all of this thing about relationship, about husband and wife, and you take as much as you could take, and when you can't take it anymore, then you have to leave. Yeah? You sit down inside the federal government for 7 years and take and take and take and take. And I want to tell you, it's only when you started to feel NRP, he feel like, oh, this is the time to come out. But guess what? My good friend Stocky fix him good. My good friend Stocky fix him good. Stocky said, this is not about no husband and wife relationship. This is about representation for the people of Nevis. So don't come and keep your secrets year in and year out and then going to come and say, oh, this is a relationship because I would have tried everything. But what did you try? It's one thing he needed to do. One thing he needed to do was to table the bill. That's all he needed to do. And the one thing he needed to do, he ain't do it yet. Ain't do it yet. And mash up the government. So, listen. They have fooled people before. They have misled people. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen again. No. We speak about the fair share. We speak about the fair share. And everybody's focused on the CBI because it appears that may be the easiest way to get some cash. But what about all of the other provisions for fair share that was in the Charleston Accord? For example, the Charleston Accord spoke about geothermal energy and financing to help Nevis advance geothermal. And you didn't hear anybody speak about where is our fair share to advance energy. We sit back here, well, they sat there. Look at St. Kitts get grants after grant. $70 million in a solar facility. So that is going to do what? Reduce the price of electricity in St. Kitts. What did we do here in Nevis? We went and took out a loan. Now, imagine the Charleston Accord had a provision for assistance in geothermal. You're going to ignore that. Go and take out a loan to buy a generator and then tell Nevis people, make sure you all pay your electricity bill because this is a loan that we have to pay back. Meanwhile, in St. Kitts, you have solar energy to help reduce the price of electricity. That is poor representation. We cannot send them back to St. Kitts. Nevis is at a crossroads right now. Either we're going to go forward with NRP, or God knows what will happen to us with CCM again. God knows. So, understand, when we hear in the talk about fair share, when you go through the Charleston Accord and you see all of the areas where CCM should have ensured that Nevis was moving forward, all of it was neglected. All of it was neglected, and we cannot afford that type of representation. I'm saying to you tonight, the decision is yours. You've heard before, we like to stay home. We don't like to come out and vote. This is no ordinary federal election. It is not an ordinary federal election. Remember, under NRP, we could have paid our civil servants, and we didn't have $400 million. Now we're getting $400 million, and we cannot pay the salary increase for the 10% when the money was provided. And then they say, give us all the money, and we're going to manage our programs over here. The PAP and the STEP and the peace. Well, you know, if they got all the money, the same way they couldn't pay the public servants, the 10%, what do you think they were going to do with the PAP and the STEP and the peace? What do you think they would have done with it? Take all of that money and bury it in concrete and roads, etc., because they do not care about people and the struggles that people are having. And this is why we say for NRP, who understands the struggles of the people, NRP is the government for Nevis today. Now, one of the things, I'm not going to be too long tonight. I just want to make sure that my people here on this side, in Nevis 11, hear me loud. And this side, on Nevis 9, hear me loud, but you're going to hear more from Dr. Bartlett. But I just want to say, how many of us need to get a passport application or need to get some kind of documentation to the federal government? We used to have a federal building here in Nevis where you can go and deal with your federal matters. Now, when we're talking about representation, we want to ensure that there is a clear distinction between what is NIA and what is federal. Because for the last election, CCM went around and had people believing that the peace program was under CCM. You was thinking that it was under CCM. But guess what? Now they're going to say, oh, only 71 people in Nevis on peace and 1,000 in St. Kitts. Well, why didn't you fight for the fair share all the time for the peace program? Why didn't you fight for that? And not only that, they're going to say, the same way they said, oh, we sat there and we were responsible for the double salary. Now it's convenient, they're going to say, oh, we support the peace, we were part of the peace. Well, why you sit down and design a program where Nevis only getting 71 and St. Kitts is getting 1,000? Why are you going to sit down and be a part of a program where you have no control and you cannot say how you're going to put people there? And that clearly shows you they were never thinking about the people of Nevis. They were never thinking about the people of Nevis. They were never working for the people of Nevis. It was always about their self-advancement. And we have to understand, NRP, we are here tonight. And I know many of you never took federal elections serious. But remember now that we are dependent on the federal government. We are dependent on the federal government, and you need a party, you need representatives who are going to ensure that we can get the necessary legislation and we do not have to go back and beg. This election is probably the most important federal election. The most important federal election. Because if we put CCM back into to form the federal government, we're going to have another 7 years of going downwards. We're going to have another 7 years where your surcharge is more than your electricity bill. You're going to have another 7 years where your water bill is more than what you use. 7 more years of more taxes. And nobody caring. No programs being put in place. And so we have spoken about, had NRP been in government, the things that we would have done with $400 million that would touch everybody. It would touch everybody. Because you see, NRP is concerned about Nevis and the people of Nevis. And NRP understands that it's not just about talking the talk. You must perform. You must perform. You must go to St. Kitts and perform. How are you going to say people matter more? People matter more and you're not performing. How are you going to buy a nice bouquet for your girlfriend and you didn't go to work? People matter, but you have to perform in order to help the people. Performance always matters. And that is what NRP stands for. And that is what we will continue to do. Now, when we speak about the federal government and the local government, I would tell you one of the areas that is near and dear to the heart of NRP, because it was under NRP that we understood the importance of making our own laws. And it was under NRP that we established the geothermal policy that started the geothermal program here. And we know that geothermal is the cleanest, cheapest form of renewable energy. And we know that there was a grant. Actually, there's a grant going on right now that deals with geothermal energy, and you have not heard anything about that grant in St. Kitts. And we are saying, once we can look at reducing the cost of living in Nevis, especially small businesses, because when you speak to the small businesses, they will tell you the electricity bill is high. They can't afford to hire people. And so we must find ways to help reduce the cost of doing business. We must find ways. And so once NRP is in a position where we have our fair share, our equitable share, our full share, whatever you call it, it must be utilized in a way so that everybody can feel the benefits. Everybody must feel the benefits. And so we are saying we must advance renewable energy. And if we start with solar energy for small businesses, and then we move up until we could get to geothermal, this is something that we must do. And these are the things where we will put that gravy money, what it's supposed to be, in terms of helping the people of Nevis. And so to everybody tonight, I just want to say, consider this election like no other election before. Consider this election like no other election before, because you must understand that it's only with NRP is Nevis going to start to see peace, progress, and prosperity once again. It is only NRP. It is only NRP that puts Nevis first, always. Whether it is in Scotland, whether it is in Manitou or wherever. I mean, imagine a Minister of Foreign Affairs. Travel the whole world. It used to be. The former. And you cannot see a project here in Nevis to say, in one of my travels, this I think can work here. And so we must say, you must say, representation in the federal government requires people who are connected with the people and require people who care and people who understand that it is the responsibility of your elected representatives to make people's lives better and easier. And that is why for this federal election, I'm asking everybody to support NRP. Vote for NRP. Because if they cannot manage the 10% salary increase that they already got the money for, imagine what's in store for Nevis under this CCM government again. And so to everybody, good night. I want to say all of my good friends who I'm seeing, good night, have a good night. I would now turn the mic over to Ms. J.D. Case. NRP is a performance party. NRP stands for Nevis. Nevis is our first priority. Everybody, good night. Thank you.
Nevis first. Nevis first. Hey. John is the for the people. She's a good leader. Protect your pride and lose character.
Are you hear me, leader? Are you hear me, leader? She ready for business. She ready for business. Another round of applause for Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge. The next national representative for Nevis 11. She is going to be the next representative for Nevis 11. We are speaking it into existence. But remember, we cannot do it without all of you. And so those of you from Craddock Road who live on this side of the road, remember that when you go to the polls, you shall be voting for Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge. If you're on the other side of the road, you cross the street. Remember, when you go to the polls, you will be voting for Dr. Patricia Bartlett. And if you reside up in Gingerland, when you go to the polls, we want you to vote for Rohan Michael Isle. Now, ladies and gentlemen, earlier, yes, I see them there. We want to recognize the good police officers of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. Because you see, officers, we know that you are here to do your job tonight. But you too have a responsibility to elect the most suited persons to represent you. And I am saying it has always been the Nevis Reformation Party to take care of our police officers. It has always been the NRP. And so, remember those barracks. Remember those barracks. They were non-existent prior to the Nevis Reformation Party. The conditions that our police officers were sleeping and living in were deplorable. But thanks to Joseph Parry and the Nevis Reformation Party, we took the police officers out of those conditions. And guess what? It got better. It got better. Some of them love Nevis so much. Some of them love Nevis so much that they were able to find their wives here on the island of Nevis. And they went and they got their own homes. They got their affordable homes under the Nevis Reformation Party. Performance matters, and we are going to focus going into this election. And our people, I tell you at the start, this is serious business, you know. We ain't in no play-thing with nobody, you know. This is serious business. And so, to the young men and young women in Craddock Road, the young men and young women in Craddock Road, who may be saying, man, I know I work for a while. But they come round now, when they offer me a little job, take it. Take the work. Nothing is wrong with that. Take the work. We are supposed to provide jobs for you. So there's nothing wrong. Take the opportunities that are being presented. But remember, they come around every 5 years. Your job is going to be from now until after the election. Mark my words, it happened before. So take the work now. But remember that when the NRP gets in office, we are going to present you with jobs that will sustain you and your families. We're not coming to give you $2,000 to vote for us for an election, and then you ain't see us in 5 years. What about a job that gives you $2,000 every month or every couple weeks, and then you can sustain yourself and provide for your families? Don't let them insult you. We're done with that. We're focusing. Now, before I bring on the next speaker, some of you, those of you who came early, you were able to receive a scratch card. You were able to receive a scratch card. And some of you, your scratch card said for Nevis. And some of you, your scratch card said for Nevis 9. So if you have a scratch card that says for Nevis 9, it means that you've won something. So okay, come forward if your scratch card says for Nevis 9. It should be 4 of them. So we have one here. Let me see. For Nevis 9. Okay. For Nevis 9. Choose one of these. For Nevis 9. And so your gift is in the envelope. Open it and let us know what you get now. Miam. You just keep everything for yourself. What your name? Matthew, Luke, and John. What your name? What about you? Okay, what does it say? Miam. He got a voucher for Nevlek. He got a voucher for Nevlek. A round of applause. A voucher for Nevlek. Well, if you don't pay lights bill home, find somebody who pays lights bill. Okay, choose one. Anyone. For Nevis 9. There should be 2 more out there. Whose card says for Nevis 9? For Nevis 9. Yours says for Nevis 9? Okay. All right. For Nevis 9. Choose one. Okay. Open it up. Open it up. One more. One more person has a card that says for Nevis 9. Mi amigo. You too? Okay, good. You got a Nevlek voucher. Congratulations. Okay. Open yours. So it's something for everyone. 2 persons receive vouchers for Nevlek. And we have here. Awesome. Reliable Motors. She got herself a gas voucher for Reliable Motors. Awesome. And I suspect that that is what this one is as well. Venga. If he doesn't drive, he could find it to get to someone. Or he could switch with Sylvester. Because Sylvester, you don't pay current bill home. You say you don't pay current bill home. Okay. Okay, perfect. Congratulations. So he won himself a gas voucher for Reliable Motors. A round of applause. And we want to thank Dr. Patricia Bartlett. We want to thank Dr. Patricia Bartlett and her team for making this possible. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are moving along, and so I am now going to invite someone like me and you, someone who is not coming this time around to present themselves or offer themselves as a candidate in any election. This is a voter like me and you for the upcoming federal election. And this person is coming forward to share just a few words with you about why they think Dr. Patricia Bartlett is the right choice for us here, and why they think Rohan Isles is the right choice for those up in Gingerland, and Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge is the right choice for us in Nevis 11 on this side of the road. So ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Dr. Kelvin Daly to the microphone. A round of applause for Dr. Daly.
And we say performance matters. NRP deal with the country proper. Cause all them attack, NRP a stepper. Catch up them a play, we a pepper. NRP a rule the country run better. Catch up them a play, we a pepper. NRP, we back with them. Them a use some style, it's not for them. NRP never gone.
NRP massive! How you feeling? How you feeling? I am so glad to be here this evening. I've been here on the spot so many times before during my own campaign. My campaign manager, Papa, one of the best guys around. But my job is simply to share 4 numbers with you. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The first number, 500 million. That is the amount of our national debt here on Nevis. That means each of you here owes Mark Brantley and the CCM $48,000. Each of you here. So start getting your pocket for your small change. Each of you here owes $48,000. If you're pregnant, your child owes $48,000 too. Papa, you pregnant? I hope not. All right. $500 million for a country with 12,000 people in it. You ever hear such a thing? And people dismiss that number as if it don't make any sense to them. Let me tell you something. When you have to pay $5 million and change every month to service that debt, it's $1 million less for your children to get educated, for you to get health care. It means something, people. And every month, it keeps going up. The debt not being serviced. The delinquent. Nevis people, we can't afford to have this kind of recklessness. Dr. Patricia Bartlett, who I work with for many years at the Ministry of Agriculture, who has been a lifelong friend, I'm telling you something. One thing you don't do with her is mess around. Keep things straight. Keep your T's crossed and I's dotted. She is a no-nonsense kind of person. She gonna tell you how you go. Whether you like it or not, she gonna tell you how you go. If you want vex in your business. But she gonna tell you straight. She ain't gonna lie to you and she ain't gonna deceive you. Tell you straight. Ask her husband. Let me tell you something. The second number. Anybody can guess the second number? 400 million. 400 million. If I had $400 million to spend on Nevis, each of you here should have a golden toilet bowl to piss in that. I don't have one. Do you have one? Papa, you got one? Me, I got none. But $400 million, and people are still scrunting to raise money to send their loved ones to medical care overseas. $400 million, and students are coming back here to Nevis with debt over $250,000. $400 million, and you can't go into the grocery stores at $100 anymore. You're not getting nothing for that. You might as well put some ketchup on your money and eat it. Cause nothing, I'm telling you, it's bad. The other day I went to fill up my truck, and I had to ask the guy, you finished? Because I only hear click. The man done. He done. I'm going to tell you something. Rohan Isles from Nevis 10. A no-nonsense guy, straight up. Straight up. You listen to Rohan talk during his campaign, during his launch last week, Friday. And his vision for agriculture in Nevis, I was so proud of him. Because he's looking at how we can look at St. Kitts and Nevis as one agriculture space. One, not two, one space. We all know Nevis is good at producing fruits, a lot of mango, all kind of salsa, all kind of things. Think it good at producing sweet potato, rice potato, and some kind of things there. But let us look at the federal policy, how we can manage that to lower food prices for consumers here on Nevis and St. Kitts. Serious man. He spoke about the fact that if you're going to address the issues of global warming, of the information technology divide, of dealing with geothermal and other energy sources, you need educated people. You need trained people. And what he's saying, the number of people in our society that has reached that level of training is insufficient. And so he's saying, I'm going to send all of you to college. Don't worry about it. We have the funds. We're going to send you. That is Rowan Isles. 400 million. I saw a post a while ago. The premier is trying to justify the 400 million. 36 things he said he do with 400 million. And let me tell you something. He made a mistake because he mentioned that he bought 2 generators for Nevis. $31 million. And I tell you this tonight, and all those are listening, that $31 million did not come out of the 400 million. Those loans are being paid for by Nevis. That's a fact. That is a fact. Ask Republic Bank about the $14.5 million he borrowed from them. Ask SIDF about the $16 million they borrowed from them. It's Nevis paying it back, not the NIA. So come again. But I want to ask the premier a question. The $9 million that he said geothermal has cost the NIA, who get it? You see any geothermal anywhere? Dr. Hodge, you are more expert on geothermal than me. Have you seen the well? When you turn on your switch, are you not paying Nevis these high rates? I'm telling you something, people. $400 million is a lot of money. And me ain't concerned too much that this guy here has screwed up the 400 million, but he want to do it again. Can't do that a second time. Can't happen again. Never again. He had every opportunity in 7 years to move the laws that will protect the rights of Nevis. Here, put the one. The major and primary job of a legislator, of a parliamentarian, the major job is to pass laws. Not to go down there and talk about marriage this and marriage that. Your major job is to pass laws to protect the rights of Nevis. Name one law that he passed. Name one law he put on the books. Not one. 15 years as a legislator. 15 years sitting in parliament and not one law. Not one law. My goodness. If this election is being held on performance, that alone, forget everything else, that alone, that's zero. Dissolve, I said. Not in the F. The last, third number. Third number. Anybody know what third number is? Nobody know? 7 years. 7 years in the wilderness. 7 years of doing nothing. Sucking up the oxygen in St. Kitts. Doing nothing for Nevis people. And then come and talk nonsense. Send me back. I need another chance. I did not get what I want done. Send me back. Boy, I wouldn't stay into Booby Island. The only place he good to stay up is up on the hill where he live. You can't send him back nowhere. Nowhere. On what platform? What can you base his performance on? What? If this election is about performance, and it must be because all the other elections have been about money. Get a little change here, a little change there. What did it profit you? What did it profit Nevis? We have to go deeper and say, listen, we want performance from our parliamentarians. And Dr. Bartlett, Ron Ives, and Dr. Hodge are the people to do it. Do I hear amen on that? Do I hear a wow on that? Do we hear we ready to vote on that? Do we hear, can I hear amen on that? The last number. The last number. If anybody can guess the last number, I got 100 in my pocket here, give. I got 100 in my pocket. If anybody can tell me the last number. 5%. 5%. 5%. How in God's name you're going to have a situation where public servants and Sankits, our brothers and sisters and Sankits, can go to the supermarket and boast off with a 10%, and we Nevis here have to struggle with 5%. The 5%, let me tell you good people something, eh? The 5% only comes to $480,000 a month extra. He get 1.75 million extra. 1.75 million extra since January 2022. 1.75 million extra. That's what he asked for. He got it. That money was supposed to go towards your 10%. He got it. He got it. You must ask him what the hell he did with it. I forget today Sunday. Sorry for the hell. Forget the hell. I tell you something. I tell you something. If the public servants in Nevis do not punish this fool for giving them 5% rather than 10%, something wrong with us. That means you don't care about yourself. Don't ring my phone and ask me to help you with a light bill. Don't ring my phone, tell me bring a pack of chicken for you. I ain't gonna bring it. Because you're not gonna fight for yourself. You're not gonna stand up for yourself. You're gonna keep this man heavy foot on your neck. No, sir. That there by itself should have stopped this man in the tracks. Damn forward to talk about I'm going to get 5%. I'm going to get 5%. And I should be happy. And I hear some of the blue Kool-Aid drinkers talking this nonsense about, well, 5 better than 0. 5 better than 0. You ever hear such stupidness? He get 10% in St. Kitts. 10 in St. Kitts. He come up here. All the trade and get 10. You know, when I calculated what these guys get, each of them get about $6,000 extra. They don't get a double in December. They get an extra $6,000 each. And you walk home, some of you walk home with $15 per week extra. And you're going to settle for that? You're going to settle for that? Then what am I doing wasting my time talking to you? You're going to settle for 5%, $16 for some of you? And he walking home with $6,000? No, something wrong with us. Something is wrong with us. This election is a pivotal election. We need real change. We need a new direction in this country. And that woman coming next, Dr. Patricia Bartlett, she gonna lay down for you. She gonna fight for you. She gonna represent you. You know where she from? She from Brownhill. Me used to afraid Brownhill people. Brownhill ain't easy. Then people don't ramp, then I make joke. And I tell you, when I tell you, Dr. Bartlett ready for them. She ready for them. She ready for them. So, my good friends, all I can do is encourage you, beg you, vote for your future, vote for your children, vote for you. The federal election is just as important as the local election because that's where the laws are made in St. Kitts. Those are where the laws are made. We must understand that. So when you say you're going to stay home, you're saying you don't want the laws to protect you. I'm telling you something. I am done. Are you going to drink a little hammer now? I'm going to let them. If I want to come and drink a hammer with me, I will come. I still got my hand in the pocket. I'm going to blow it off tonight. God bless. See you guys at the poll.
NRP. And we say performance matters. NRP deal with the country proper. Cause all them attack, NRP a stepper. Catch up them a play, we a pepper. NRP a rule the country run better. Catch up them a play, we a pepper. NRP.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kelvin Daly. And I'm not going to waste any time. I'm not going to waste any time because, ladies and gentlemen, he spoke. He told you why we need this next person in government. Why we need this person at the federal level. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in Nevis 9. And so we are going to warmly welcome the candidate for Nevis 9 at the federal level, Dr. Patricia Bartlett. She is the doc with the right prescription. Let us welcome her. Come on, bring on the doc. Bring on the doc. Bring on the doc. Energy, energy,
This
energy,
is
energy, energy.
Screen build houses to fulfill your dream. Best performance that you have seen. Well, shout it out loud. In 5 years they have made us proud. The employment rate is on our high. That's performance we can't deny. Unstoppable force. We staying on course. No time to turn back. We staying on track on election day. Don't care what they say. Tell the opposition. We voting for NRP. The brand new job strip and brand new rules. The new policy.
Good evening, people. Good evening. People from Nevis 10, where you? Nevis 11, where you? Nevis 9, my people, where you? Thank you, Dr. Daly, thank you. Greetings to all of Craddock Road. I remember the days when I used to come to Craddock Road. Everywhere I go, I have a story, because I serve people all over Nevis. And I used to come Craddock Road, Papa. I used to come and look after goat over by Terred. I used to go, yeah, man, I had my days of my Kurt Paris them, and Ashley and them guys with the animals. So I've been around, and it's special because my husband is from Craddock Road. So I'm at my adopted village. Craddock Road is my official adopted village. So it is good to be home, Craddock Road. Thank you for the reception. I would like to just say good night to all the people within the sound of my voice. I know JD earlier would have greeted the people in the diaspora, people who are tuned in, whether by YouTube, Facebook. So we are always glad to have these people in our company. We are always glad to be able to share with them because they ought to know what is going on here. Now, tonight I'm not going to waste a lot of time. We've been on a series of meetings. Tonight is the culmination of everything that we talked about for the past week. And so I just want to, for the benefit of those who didn't get a chance to join us before, some of you might be hearing the same thing again, and maybe just a little twist on it. But for the benefit of those who are just joining us tonight, because for some reason they didn't have the time during the week, I would just like to recap some of the things, the issues that we would have talked about during the week. Now, everybody know by now that the fair share argument is what? A red herring. Everybody knows that the fair share argument is a red herring. So let us just summarize
what was going on as it relates to the fair share thing. They say that they believe in fair share for divisions. I'm not questioning whether or not they believe in it. I'm questioning whether or not they did anything to secure it for us. Because, as we all know, NRP has a history of making sure we finalize arrangements so Nevis could always be positioned to get what is rightfully ours. And we want to disband this notion about talking about fair share, because fear is relative. You might think it's fair, you get your 25%, somebody else think that they wanted a 25 plus 1 in order for it to be fair. So we ain't going with the fair share argument. That was something associated with the Charleston Accord, and we know that that mash up, right? So we're not going to entertain the fair share thing. We're going to say we're looking for our equitable share. So we know, and by now, everybody here would know that the fair share argument only started when the premier could not get the money for his local campaign. Right? We all agreed on that? Good. So he ain't get it. And he start screaming about fair share. All of a sudden, he so love Nevis people. And he want to make sure that we get with fair share. Now, in December, when he collected $45 million on behalf of Nevis people, that was good enough for us. You didn't hear anything about fair share, right? Nobody hear nothing about no fair share. When they were sharing monies for the task force, you had people in syndicates getting $27,000. You had people in Nevis, the highest amount I think the Nevisians got was less than $10,000. You think that was fair for Nevis people? But he didn't think that it was fair, it was supposed to be fair then, so he signed off on it to give somebody in syndicates who doing the same thing as somebody in Nevis, an honorarium mine. So an honorarium is not based on merit. It decides somebody out of the goodness, a gratuitous payment, out of the goodness that they, okay, I'm going to give you a little extra. And our premier sat there and signed off on it that somebody in the syndicates got twice the amount of somebody in Nevis. And he didn't think that we needed fair share for our people. So you see how the argument skewed? It's only when it's convenient he wants to talk about fair share. We said tonight already, he cannot fool us. Because guess what? We're 98% literate. So he can't come with that. Not again. He used that argument before, and he fooled some people. He coming back with it again, but it can't fly now. Because he cannot fool you. He cannot fool me. And he definitely not gonna fool my husband over there. And you know what? In Brownhill, you could fool George, but you can't fool Maisie. So let him tell back where we're at. Now, I told you already that NRP has a history of making sure we make arrangements for Nevis to get a fair share. We did that when we had the Constitution in 1983. We came back again in 2010 with the VAT was sharing. We did the same thing. But it took these lawless people out of CCM twice now to dash with the arrangement. Because guess what? They do not want to be associated with anything that is legal. It always has to be an arrangement on the side that people write in letters. You and I have not seen the letters that have been going back and forth when the premier claimed that he has been making representation on behalf of Nevis people. We don't know what's in the letter. And for people who like to leak, you got to ask yourself, they like to leak. They leak everything. Why they have not leaked the letter that says that he was making representation on behalf of the people? Because, you know what? He knows that he never really intended to get fair share for Nevis people. He just wanted to get enough in his hands so he could influence or to buy this local election here in Nevis. But I'm glad the way things turn out. The only thing I'm regretful about is that really, even though we now see who these people are, the impact of their behavior. The thing is, we have a struggling community right now. And we could have well do with the $81 million that we could have gotten had we stayed in the arrangements that NRP had created years ago. Had we stayed in that arrangement, we would have gotten $81 million for the last 3 years from revenue sharing. But you know what? Elections have consequences. And that is the consequence of electing people who really do not have your interests and my interest at heart. But this election coming up, and speaker after speaker has said to you, this is an important election. Do not stay home. Do not stay home. I'm appealing to each person under the sound of my voice, whether you're on my side in Craddock Road, or you're on Dr. Janice Daniels Hodge side of Craddock Road on this side. All of us have to come out if we really want representation in Bastille. If we want representation in Bastille, that would really be representation that is looking out for all of us and not just some of us, because we all live here and we can see where the representation, who benefiting from the representation. If you don't have a truck or you don't have a backhoe, crop or smoke your pipe. If you don't have a truck or you don't have a backhoe, crop or there you go. So look, we have a plan, and NRP always has a plan. We're not going to Bastille to make friends. Somebody told you already that I don't make joke, and I really don't make joke when it comes to money. Because when I go, I don't make joke with money. Mikey, you know that. I want my money and I want it now. If you promise me, you're going to give me before I leave here. So don't forget. So when I go to Bastille, I ain't going to look no friends. And right now, nobody quoting me, so I know I don't have any kind of obligation to nobody. They ain't give me no money to spend. And so when I go, my hands are free. I associate with who I think could provide for Nevis our fair share. So when we go with a plan. Because like Dr. Daly said earlier, when we go to Bastille as parliamentary members. It means you're going to Parliament to make laws. I am not a lawbreaker. And the problem is that what we have been sending a bunch of guys who they rather break laws than make laws. So they have gone over there, break laws, because the Constitution says Nevis and St. Kitts were supposed to live peaceably together. We put our monies together. St. Kitts put all the revenue that they got from taxes with Nevis, and then we split it 75-25. And we were comfortable with that. But no, CCM lawbreakers gone down and decide they're going to dash with that. So they dash with that arrangement. So the thing is, when we go now, this is the third time, you know. This is our third attempt to make sure that the visions get what the Constitution says that we're entitled to. So when we go, there's a section in the Constitution. They call it Section 110. And in that it says that we entitled to revenues to be shared between St. Kitts and Nevis based on your population. So right now, let us for argument's sake say that it is 76-24, because from the last time, the census that they did the last time, that is what it was. So let's work with that, right? So when we go, that is the portion that we need to ask for. The problem that we would be having though, or what CCM would not admit to, is that they have no leg to stand on as it relates to negotiating. Because what they would have done is that they broke up the relationship. You cannot go, or the arrangement, sorry for using the word relationship, because we're not doing the relationship thing. You cannot go and try to amend the law, because that is what we're trying to do, to amend 110 to include what they call non-tax revenue. Remember I said that in section 110, there is a provision for us to share the tax revenue. But the confusion now is about the CBI or the passport monies that they claim does not fall into that category. So now there's a different category that is not captured. So now we want to insert the non-tax revenue, add that to the tax revenue. The problem that CCM had is that they took us out of the arrangement, so really there isn't anything in 110 that applies to them. It can't apply to them because they mash it up. So that's why they don't, anytime they hear anything legal, do it the legal way. They can't do that because they already broke down the relationship. So you can't amend that which does not exist. And that is the problem. And they're not going to tell you the truth. Because they can't go and say, well, let us amend 110 when they are the same ones who contravene 110, mash it up. So they can't amend it. But when you send us on a clean slate, we go down and we apologize to the fact that we had some lawless people here before us. We are now here to represent Nevisions in a legal way. So when we go, we have the moral authority to say, here we come, we stand on the Constitution which allows us to equally benefit from the fruits of our labor. You sell our passport, you put people to fish in or give people permission to fish in our waters, wherever the non-tax revenues exist, come bring it, we are entitled to a portion of it. So when we take the legislation and we put it down, let me see who in syndicate can say they're not going to support it. And in the off chance that CCM might get one seat in Nevis, let's see if they would not support it. Because I can assure you, it takes 2/3 majority in order for us to pass it. When we bring it to the people of Nevis, because that is what the process is, we'll have to bring it to the people of Nevis for a referendum. Let me see if CCM people not gonna come and vote for it so that we can get our fair share, as they call it. And then we take it to the people in syndicates. Let me see all of our brothers and sisters in syndicates who have consciences who would say that Nevis is not entitled to the little 25%. I don't think that's gonna happen. It is something that is doable. So I just don't, I do understand. If you start by the morning, you can't come a good evening. And that is the dilemma that CCM are experiencing right now. They cannot make changes to our legislation that you already mash up. Yeah, what happened to them? But you know what? Let's move on to the other issue. The other issue is the cleaner, cheaper energy, renewable energy that was promised to us. And they claim that they have it in the Charleston Accord. Have geothermal in the Charleston Accord. They're going to show this switch in 2017 for us to get cheaper, cleaner energy. Where are we tonight? Huh? Where are we tonight? Huh? Your electricity bill is twice what you paid for it 2 months ago. And the surcharge is way more than what you use. Now that sounds like it makes sense to you? When the premier, just a couple of months ago, brought in a brand new spanking Watsilla dirty diesel engine, and said to you then, it's going to make electricity cheaper. Now, all of you went to school, Papa. How that could make sense? Eh? Fuel prices going up every day. We don't have no control over it. And he going to come and try to con you again. Always trying to con Nevis people. As if he think that we went to school. And all of us, you know, we went to school is 98% literate we be. I'm so proud of my people in Nevis. With 98% literate. You see? So where are we now? What do you tell me? We ain't do nothing. I said, we ain't even see the fumes. I look over Hamilton the other day, and at one time I used to see steam coming up. I ain't even seen steam. Yes. And then they say millions of dollars have been spent. 7 million? 7 million. Not that me here 9. But whether it's 7 million or 9 million, we ain't see. Wait there. Because somebody saying somebody lost La Chamber. I don't know. I keep note of that because nobody gonna carry me under the clock. Some people like go under the clock and they don't carry me. Eh? You got your clock? You got yeah, and but they're not gonna carry me there. So let us just focus on what has been done as it relates to making life easier for us. Because every time electricity goes up, everything else goes up. You know, but, now maybe, it going up. Anytime electricity goes up, anytime the price of energy goes up, everything goes up. And you have people here who are struggling. People who are struggling, particularly single women with children. Struggling. That's why tonight we said, let me just try to help out somebody who maybe have a neglect bill. Give them a little something, a little encouragement. We ain't trying to bribe you because guess what? We know all of you here are going to vote for NRP. So we don't have to give you nothing. It's one thing with NRP people, you don't have to give them nothing. They're committed to a cause. So look at what is going on in Nevis. Look at what is going on in Nevis. We need to make sure that the people who we send to Bastille understand the struggles of the people. So even if they couldn't deliver geothermal, look how many homes they claim they would have built. You think they couldn't get a couple solar panels put on them for the poor people? Eh? They could have put some solar panels on some of the houses. In this day and age, we ought to be building smart homes that you can conserve energy. If you had a couple of solar panels on your house, you could power your house, and the little extra that you generate, because we have a lot of sun, we could have fed that into Nevlek and get a little something. You could imagine, I know you don't pay bills at home, you don't pay electricity bills, but it could have helped. Yes, it could have helped, but they have no plans for the people of Nevis. They don't care, they have no vision. That is so true, no vision whatsoever. And so, Nevis people continue to suffer needlessly because of all the monies that we've been hearing about. 500 million. 500 million we owe in loans. And then you're going to tell me that 400 million you're going around making up stuff, trying to justify what you did with people money. That can't be right. And then you're going to tell people you want to send you back to Bastille? Send you back to Bastille for what? Huh? There's no good reason presented up to this point why we should send them back to Bastille. If you want to continue your suffering, you send them back to Bastille. But I know you're smarter than that. Do not send them back to Bastille. As a matter of fact, send them home. Send them home from Bastille. Send them home from Charlestown, because they don't deserve to represent you. They do not deserve, because you have trusted them. Up to this point, you have put all your trust in them. Not one time, not two times. It's 15 years now. 15 years. We have the same representative for Nevis 9. 15 years. That is too long for not doing anything. And so when Nevis people, when NRP people say performance matters, they say don't study them. They say ignore the noise. But performance should matter. If performance didn't, naturally, performance should matter. Of course. So anyway, let's move right on because we can't stay all night tonight. One of the other issues that we covered this week would have been decent work and economic growth. No, the World Bank had projected that for this year, St. Kitts Nevis, we would grow by 10%. And that is, that was very optimistic because, of course, we didn't do much last year, so whatever we did this year would have been much more than last year, so that is counted as growth. So they said we'll grow by about 10%. The first quarter done gone. The second quarter almost completed because it gets completed at the end of June. So we still have not seen the growth that was expected. We still have not felt the growth that was expected. So it means that we have to start paying attention to the headwinds. We're heading into some headwinds. We are already in recession, but we're heading for some rough times, people. I'm telling you that because, as Dr. Daly said, I'm not gonna hold back anything from you. So make sure, I went to the supermarket yesterday, and I couldn't believe a little basket. I was trying to help out a lady, and a little basket of the basics come up to $112. $112 with basic food stuff, and he didn't have any personal care items in it. So that is how rough things are getting, because we all realize that inflation biting all of us. Whether you work for $10,000 or you work for $360, inflation is biting. So we have to make sure, and NRP has a plan to make sure that we provide job opportunities. You heard Rohan earlier talking about the potential that is there from the medical cannabis industry. Why aren't we exploring that? But as lawmakers, when we go to syndicates, those are the kind of things we have to make sure that we accelerate. We have to go there and agitate on behalf of the people. Is one thing, syndicates has CBI, we ain't got nothing. We have land. We have people who are accustomed to grow ganja already. Let us capitalize on those. Those are the assets that we have to use to make sure that we propel Nevis. So we can't sit down and wait on syndicates as it relates to getting the legislative agenda in place to move Nevis. We have to be the ones to go there and agitate on behalf of the people of Nevis to make sure that whatever requisite legislation is required so that we could do the thing legally, that Nevis people start taking up the space. We need to take our space, because in the meantime, we ain't doing anything. St. Vincent way ahead, they're exporting cannabis products to the EU. You have Jamaica way ahead. And the thing is, make sure, pay attention, people, pay attention. The places that have decided that they're gonna go grow cannabis, medical cannabis, these are the places, they don't have to sell passport, you know. Jamaica don't have to sell passport. St. Vincent not selling passport. Barbados don't have to sell passport either. So, there is just my argument, my central argument is we must find something else other than selling passport. Because we have already heard that the passport selling business is under threat. So when they close them down, what is going to happen? We have to start thinking about those things. So when we send legislators to syndicates or parliamentarians, let them understand that their focus, JD, I'm using the word that you introduced to our people tonight, focus. When they go, they must focus on the legislation that is going to make sure that it enhances the lives of our people. So the legislation to move cannabis production and the cannabis industry ahead, we have the power when we go to syndicates to make sure that we get that sorted out. We have to sort that out in short order when we get there. We don't have time to waste because we have a lot of making up to do. Because we've been going through a dull period for too long now. This is worse than recession. I don't even know what word it is because this is worse than recession. And right, there you go. So when we send our people, we can't just go down and talk about fair share, because that soon does not have any merit whatsoever. So when we say we're going to provide decent work, we're going to have to make sure that the work that we provide for our people is work that could allow them to live a decent, honorable life. Some of the things that some people have to do for a second job is not fit for conversation at the dinner table. We need to change that. Because there was a time that women used to be able to go out and work 2 and 3 legal jobs and take care of their families. That is rough these days. Women can't find 2 regular, decent jobs. So we have to make sure that we put the foundation in place so that our people could live better lives. We have been talking a lot about poverty. And I know that poverty has always been with us. My contention with the Premier is this. Everybody else in the world, all the countries signed on to what we call the Sustainable Development Goals. And the number 1 goal is no poverty by 2030. So everybody else getting things lined up to make sure that they achieve that goal by 2030. Admittedly, we had a little setback with COVID. All right? Admittedly, we had a little setback with the war in Ukraine. But that ought not to deter us from the ultimate goal of seeking no poverty in our country by 2030. And the thing is, there's help out there for us to be able to achieve that. But we have to have the political will to do right by our people. Yes, we need to make sure that our poor people are taken care of. Not just by, and listen to me carefully, I have nothing against the PAP, which is Poverty Alleviation Program. The problem I have is that some people want us to stay there at that level, whereas you're just alleviating the poverty, make them feel comfortable in their poverty, and they stay right there, and you leave them there. That is not what we want. We want to be able to eradicate poverty so that nobody poor again. We want when people go out and work that they're not end up poor after they don't pay the bills, the basic bills. That's not what we don't want, that kind of poverty here. We don't want poverty, period. But right now we have a lot of people who fall into that category. We call them the working poor. We need to do whatever we can, and we must have legislation to help us to get to that stage. We also have people who are house poor. It's not just you get a salary and it's not enough, but sometimes you would have committed because when things were good, you went and you took a house. But now things ain't so good. By the time you finish pay for your house, you have no money left. So you're house poor. We need to make sure that we can move those people from being house poor back to living at least a half-decent life. Not because they would have committed to a house. It means that government have to take the responsibility of buying back some of these mortgages for poor people who can't afford it. Because if you say you're providing affordable housing, affordable houses should be affordable. It should be affordable. So we must position ourselves, and that's what we had the Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation for, so that it could give ease to poor people. It wasn't intended for people to be able to profit through it and off it, but you have people who are using it, and it is not being used the way it was intended to use. And so we have to change that. We have to change the focus and look after our people, because our people deserve better. Mind you, not everybody gonna be able to afford a house, but everybody need housing. So it means that we have to get to the stage where we're gonna have to be offering different styles of housing. You have some people who are gonna need, because a young man like, well, maybe not you so young, but a young man like Devon, well, he might just want, just to have a pad, So you set him up with a little pad that, right. He ain't really need the house. He ain't really need the aggravation of having to cut the lawn and all that kind of thing. So we have to be able to provide housing for our people as well. Now, there's an issue that I want to bring to your attention. And listen to me closely on this one. We have not brought it up. We have not discussed it for this week. But it is related to Social Security. Now, Social Security as it is now, the last actuarial report that was published, and that is just some mathematician kind of people who go around and look at, this scheme and see how long they think it could last and all that. So the last report that they published in 2021, it said that they recommend that we change the pensionable age from what it is now, which is 62, to 65. We're going to have to do that gradually. But it's a conversation that we're going to have, because if we don't, it means that by the time you're ready to collect, because I'm older than you, nothing is going to be there. Because if we continue the way we're going now, is going to be depleted by 2040. Any time between 2040 and 2043. So it means that we have to start conditioning our minds, recognizing that some hard decisions going to have to be made. Because you know what? This recommendation to change the age as which to qualify for Social Security pension has been presented to our governments since 10 years ago, and they did nothing about it. Because people always thinking, how is it going to affect my re-election bid? And so nothing has been done. But that is something that has to go to the federal parliament and get resolved. Because if we don't fix it now, it's not going to be available for us to benefit from in years to come. Because we are already at the point where we are paying out more than we're taking in. So that is a conversation we're going to have. It's a serious conversation. And I don't, like I said, and Daly would have said before, I don't want to hide anything from you. It is not about bringing hardship. It's about making sure that we have a sustainable fund so that in times to come, everybody can benefit. It also means, based on the proposal that was made, that you might have to pay an extra 2% off of your salary and your wages. Now, this is something that I think that we should have a conversation about, not only in the bars, but at home. Because what it is you're investing in your future. So we do not get upset with me if you send missing kids and I said, look, one of the first things we're going to have to fix is this Social Security issue mine. Because that is an issue that we must get a resolution on. So don't get upset with me for the 2%. Because I didn't hear the big uproar when they withheld the 5% from you. And the 5%, well, we'll come to the 5% in a little bit. So the Social Security Fund, if we don't act by 2040, some of us ain't going to benefit beyond that. So we're going to get to the point where you're going to have to pay as you go. And what that means is that as much as we take in, we're going to have to be paying it out. Just like how you, yes, Papa. So, just to remind you that action is required, and even if in St. Kitts they're not talking about it, make sure that you talk to your counterparts and find out how is this going to impact on you, how is it going to impact on the country, because for too long we've been kicking this can down the road and nobody taking the time to resolve it. All right? Another issue I want to introduce again tonight is the national health insurance, or what they call universal health care. Now, we continue to decry the fact that every time somebody gets sick in Nevis, you have to see them on the side of the road with a sponsor card, or they have to be frying chicken. Well, you can't even do fish fry nowadays because fish is so expensive. Oh, well, yes, well, those people who are online doing the GoFundMe thing. No, I don't know. That is not sustainable. That is not sustainable because medical expenses nowadays are through the roof. And the little $10 that Devon and I could give you, or Chanel could give you another, $15 because she maybe make a little more than us. That really can't go away. And by the time some people finish begging, you're right. I don't want to put it like that, Papa, but you're right. They have expired. Because it takes so much time and it is such a stressful period. By the time they at least be able to grab a little something, put something together, their life would have expired. And we are seeing that. And those are not the kind of things that we want our people to be constantly exposed to. Those are things that government ought to have initiatives to deal with. You're not supposed to be sick and have to take on the financial stress, because that makes you even sicker. Because stress is going to just compound whatever issues you're going through. So this is not a novel idea, the idea about having a national health insurance. Because I'm going to share something with you. So last year when the budget was being discussed, the now Deputy Prime Minister would have said, because he's the one who was dealing with the issue, he would have said at that time that by the first quarter of this year, 2022, they had something that should be coming to the cabinet and ultimately to the parliament as it related to the national health insurance. But lo and behold, that wasn't even a consideration when the premier and his bunch decided to walk away. And I wondered, they really care about Nevisians? Imagine, in the first quarter, the man promised that he was going to bring this thing to the parliament and to the cabinet. That should have been something on your agenda that would have said, at least let us push back the noise we make it about fair share until we get the issue of this health insurance coverage for people. Let us push through that and maybe delay the mashing up of the government. But if they didn't care about us, because had they cared about us, they would have said, you know, guys, let us pause a bit. If we walk away now, we might just disrupt everything. Because now when they have walked away, where does that leave us as it relates to universal health care? Where does that leave us? It means now that if the government changes and they don't like the kind of proposals that were made, we have to go back to the drawing board. Where does that leave us in Nevis, who always have to be going out and begging money to pay our medical bills? Now, that I don't think that when these guys were moving away from the table, they contemplated anything other than how it was going to benefit them. And so that is something, when they come to you, you have to ask them, how is it we're going to deal with the issue of health care on Nevis? How is it we're going to deal with the issue of the hospital that you can't finish? You say, give you more time for what? You go to St. Kitts and get distracted. Okay. The minister goes to St. Kitts. He's the Minister of Agriculture in Nevis. He goes to St. Kitts and he takes the portfolio as Minister of Agriculture in St. Kitts. He goes to work every day in St. Kitts. He makes decisions in St. Kitts about, well, policy decisions. Not one of those decisions impact not one farmer in Nevis. Not one. Not one. And then they claim that they're doing such a glorious job in St. Kitts. Glorious job for who? The only thing I could give them credit for is that he got a second salary. But you're not supposed to talk about that. Me not grudge him for the second salary, you know. But what I am upset about is that while you're doing that in St. Kitts, Nevis people over here suffering. And the only thing that he would have done in Nevis, he says, oh, I went to Taiwan and I saw that they had night market, so I introduced night market in Nevis. Now, what is night market to you and me? Eh? I want to make sure that I buy my stuff during the day when I could see them good and feel them up and then carry them home. But he come back and all he can boast about for his achievements in Nevis would be night market. So the point is, it makes no sense to send him to St. Kitts to get involved in people's story over there. This is like having a man having two homes. He got a wife in Brownhill and one in Charleston. He left his wife and the children in Brownhill every day and come town with the one in town. Make decisions for whatever business they have in town, and they're prospering. And those in Brownhill, he reached back home every night, too tired. When he reached home, all he could do is just bathe and go sleep. He cannot even ask them, well, how was the day? He cannot have any input. And so his Brownhill family is struggling, and the one in town, with the bright lights there, they are progressing. Now, that is the kind of analogy when you say you give the man two jobs to do the same thing in two places where he can't touch the budget in town to help the family in Brownhill. Now, that makes sense? That makes no sense. Then the one that went and said that he's Minister of the Environment. The Minister of Environment? Well, what have you done for Nevis people? And I'm looking around to see what he would have brought back from last year. But instead of that, all I'm hearing is that he went to COP26 and he said that we having 100% renewable energy in St. Kitts and Nevis by 2030. knowing full well nothing going on in Nevis. As Auntie Shelley does say, knowing full well nothing a keep. Nothing a keep. And so when I look over by the dump and I see we have an environmental disaster over there, I say, well, there's no representation for us. An environmental disaster waiting to happen right there on the water's edge. And nobody doing anything about it. But he's going to St. Kitts every day. And he says, send me back to Bastia. Send you back to Bastia to do what? It makes no sense. Because up here we well want a little help in the environment, in managing the environment, to the extent that he could help because, you know, well, I'm not going to go there. No. But I just want to just leave us with a couple of things, a couple of questions. I want to find out, right, if this premature election, if it's going to impact on your livelihood, how is it you're going to decide that you're going to still vote for the same people who created the mess? How could you vote for the same people who created the mess, Papa? Because a lady said to me, you know what, I think I should better just send them back to St. Kitts and sort out their confusion. Huh? How could you send them back to sort out the confusion? They're the ones who created it. But those are the kind of things that we're hearing. Those are the kind of things that we're hearing. Of course, more confusion can happen. I'm asking, as it relates to the health issues on Nevis, where the hospital can't get finished and nobody seems to have any direction as to where they want to take us. So many people, and I'm hearing it almost every time I hear somebody die nowadays, I'm hearing it is cancer. What are we doing about it? What is the Minister of Health doing about that? We need to be able to investigate to find out why is it our people are dying from cancer. I want to be able to find out why is it our people have so many what you call NCDs. Those are the non-communicable diseases. Because you know what? And this is kind of rough, you know, Papa, but it's the fact. Too many of us are obese. Too many of us in Nevis are obese. But what are we doing about it as a government? Nothing. We can do things about it. Because the thing is, the only thing we've been able to do up to this point as it relates to these NCDs that we say killing our people is that to put a tax on the sweetened drink, the sweet beverages, we put a tax on that. And we would have published some guidelines, some dietary guidelines. That's all we have done. But that in itself can't be enough. We have to do more than that. And I'm saying, you tax our people. Okay, so you put on 50% for the import duties. You put on 6% for the custom service charge. You put on another 5% for excise tax on the same sweet drinks. Well, when you collect all those taxes, why can't you then make a policy that money you would give people so that they could go out, get rebates on food like, well, your carrots and your healthy foods. But instead of that, the monies that are collected, they just put it to go use to fix roads. Now, how could that be fair to our people? How are we going to get any healthier? We have to have people who are mindful of these things and who are going to put policies in place that are going to affect our lives in a positive way. In a positive way. I don't know if you have an MRI. I see them have a pad up there on the outside, say they're supposed to build something else. But I don't know if we're going to ever get to that point. Imagine we have so many of our people in what we call medical exile. They're just out there, they can't come home. Because if they come home, chances are they're going to die shortly after. So they have to stay out there. We need to be able to bring our health care up to standard. That at least people could come home for a vacation, man. Some of them can't even come home for 10 days because they have to rush back for medical care. So this is in the 21st century, we still have 19th century medical facilities. Huh? That is not good enough. And then we say that we care about people. That is not good enough. And we got to do better than that. And we have to, as a people, demand better than that. We have to demand better because if you think you deserve better, You're going to take something less than what you think you deserve? And other people, when they get sick, they could just fly out? Huh? So I keep reminding our people, elections have. I just feel to give you the mic. Because you can't say louder than that. What is the current health status of our people? Huh? We need to be able to have at least one epidemiologist. That is just somebody who is going to just look at the patterns to see how things go in. I've been agitating for that for years now, and the Premier thinks that is something to scoff at. Advocating for that for years now. Get us an epidemiologist, at least so they could see what is going on in the population. Because if we don't study our people, we're not going to understand what is going on. These kind of things need an expert. You can't just take up any and anybody and give them the data and say, well, see what you can find there. That is not going to work. It's about time our people got better representation. Yes, so we go to Cuba and then we borrow. We borrow expertise from there. What are we doing to empower our people? We must be able to empower our people so that they could fill the slots of all the epidemiologists and the nutritionists and all the people that we require to make sure that our system runs. Now, I know that Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge is the expert when it comes to green energy and the blue economy and all that. And so we would continue to talk about those issues. But before I leave, I want to ask some fundamental questions as it relates to our relationship with our representatives. How often you see them coming to asking you how things be with you? Huh? So people, those of you who are from constituency or from Nevis 11, what you gonna do when they come this time? Huh? What you gonna do when they come this time? Okay, so when Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge comes through, what you gonna do? You're gonna embrace her. Nevis 10, when Ron Isles come through, what you gonna do? You're gonna embrace Rohan. Because guess what? You need people with a plan. I am not gonna come up here with no ray, and no loud talk. It's about thinking about the issues. It's about making sure that you craft policies, you craft legislation that's going to impact on your people. And so St. John's and St. Paul's, Nevis 9, when Patricia Bartlett shows up on your doorstep, I am coming for us to discuss the issues. And when elections are called, who are you going to return for Nevis 9? When elections are called, who are you going to return for Nevis 10? When elections are called, who are you going to return for Nevis 11? And then when the people from the other side comes, just ask them the standard question that I have been bringing every time I've come to the podium. What have you done in the last 7 years to make sure that me and my family will live a half-decent life in Nevis? Good night, people. Thank you, and I love you.
Coming once again. So divisions you should not refrain from giving your nation to justification and from bribery abstain. Nevis Reformation Party. 5 young people love integrity.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for our Nevis 9 candidate, Dr. Patricia Bartlett. It is time to get a representative from Nevis 9 from the NRP in the federal cabinet. The time has come for us to send Dr. Patricia Bartlett over to St. Kitts to represent us. She is focused on the issues. Rohan Isles came and he was focused on the issues. Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge came and she was focused on the issues. We need to focus on the issues. We cannot get caught up in the fluff. We cannot get caught up in all the hype. We cannot get caught up in these things that are, they're just, they're masking the real issues. I need our people to focus. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a wonderful evening. And before we go, I just want to let you know that our next stop will be on Tuesday in Fountain. We are heading to Fountain this Tuesday at Carbo's place. Okay? And we know that Fountain is NRP City. So I want all of you there this coming Tuesday. We want all of you there this coming Tuesday. Then on Friday, you switch it up a bit. On Friday, we are going to Cotton Ground. We are going to Cotton Ground this Friday. And then on Saturday, over to Brown Hill. On Saturday, we'll be going to Brown Hill. So stay connected with us and we'll keep you up to date and informed about where we are going. People of Craddock Road, we want you to understand that you are just as worthy as anybody anywhere else. And so whatever is going to be distributed in terms of programs and policies by Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge in Nevis 11, it must mean that you are entitled to them in Craddock Road. I want you to know that nobody is better than you. Nobody deserves more than you. And so we are going to stop settling for the bare minimum. If you are 18 years of age, if you are in your 20s, the NRP has something for you. If you are older than that, between 30 and 40, the NRP has something for you. If you are older than 40, the NRP has something for you. If all you know is CCM, but you're not pleased with what CCM is doing, come over. The NRP has something to do. And I'll tell you something. We are not going to be in this petty politics. We are not in this petty politics. If CCM does something good and it benefits Nevis, we adopt it and we move forward. Time to done away with the petty politics. Time to done away with the petty politics. If you are eating under a CCM administration, we have a problem with that. All we want is to ensure that other people eat as well. We want everybody to eat. It is not fair for Papa alone to eat. All of us must eat. And so, we have no issues if you feel that CCM has been supporting you, but look at your neighbor. You think it's fair that CCM is doing for you and nothing for your neighbor? We are saying that in the Nevis Reformation Party, everybody must eat. Craddock Road, under an NRP government, everybody will eat. And so I am asking you, I am pleading with you, I am begging you to send Dr. Patricia Bartlett, Rohan Isles, and Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge to St. Kitts to represent us. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a wonderful evening. We want to thank, as usual, our cameraman and crew. We want to thank our DJ. We want to thank those who come and put up the stage and deal with all the logistics. We thank you. We thank you for coming out. See you on Tuesday. The NRP train will roll into Fountain. Thank you and good night. I'm JD Keynes.
POTENRP, POTENRP, for peace, progress, and prosperity. For peace, progress, and prosperity. Nevis, your future is in doubt. Nevis, your future is in doubt. The time come now, we're gonna vote them out. The time come now, we're gonna vote them out.
Peace.
The fabulous vibe, keeping over life. We then have been Nevis, must survive. A body with pride, got nothing to hide. So Nevisions, you must now decide. We've got the vision, made a decision. Eradicate all of this division. We're of the people, we're by the people, always of the people, yeah. Years of corruption, years of confusion. How many years we talking? All 14 years now. Mismanagement and victimization. It's 14 years to say. Nevis suffer from 1980 till 92. Let's look at what NRP done for you. 4 Seasons Hotel began operations under the NRP February 91. Nevis Hotel, yes, it still provides employment for many people. How many years we talking? All 14 years now. Mismanagement and victimization. It's 14